Brothers and sisters, that is what pleases God this morning. When you trust Him, when you relinquish control and follow Him. You know, some of you probably grew up and had parents that gave you a command that went something like this. Do this. And you said, why? Why? Because I said so, right? Now, if you've been a parent for a while, you may have realized something. Even though you thought you would never say those words, you too have said, because I say so. And the reason you say that is because sometimes you realize your child needs to trust you even when you don't give them an explanation. Because sometimes an explanation isn't appropriate in the context. Maybe it would put them in danger if you took too long to explain. Maybe they wouldn't understand it even if you began to explain. And the reason the question why bothers parents is because the question why isn't just about an explanation. It is a question of your integrity. I mean, think about it. A why says, I'm not sure if I should obey you, Mom and Dad. If you give me a good enough reason, then I'll consider. And you say, well, let me think about it. I gave birth to you. I care for you when you're sick in the middle of the night. I take you all over God's green earth to run you to your activities. Why do you think I'm trying to sabotage your life? I'm a good person. I'm just telling you this because it's good for you. And the question why says, no, I'm only going to listen to you if you can give me a good enough reason to. Your character alone is not a sufficient enough reason for me to trust you. Now, in all fairness to a child, sometimes our character as a parent is kind of shady, right? Maybe there's a good reason for them to doubt our character at times. You know, maybe we've earned their distrust, and sometimes it's good to explain to a kid what's going on. I'm not saying that. But what I want you to see is this: how dangerous it is if we demand a why from God. God, why should I obey you? Why should I trust you? I'm only going to trust you if it makes good sense to me. And we're right back to the tree of knowledge of good and evil, wanting to be our own gods. I will obey God as long as it makes sense to me. But when we trust God for what we cannot see, when we depend upon Him, even though we might want to do otherwise, what we're really saying is this: God, you are more righteous, you are more wise, you're more powerful than I am, and I trust you more than I trust myself. God, I know that if I knew as you knew, and if I was as good as you were, I would agree with what you're asking me to do. Now, that doesn't mean faith is totally blind. Faith says, I've seen enough about God's character and actions in the past to trust Him with what I do not understand in this circumstance. And just like a parent, if I trust my parent and I know they're good to me and they're always doing good for me, I will trust them even if in this circumstance it's not well explained, because I've seen enough of the track record. And brothers and sisters, that pleases God. God is worthy to be trusted. He is the creator of life. He's the creator of goodness. And all He has ever done is shown goodness to His people. Righteousness comes from faith, trusting in God, depending upon His righteousness and not our own.